Plenty coming up on the show as Draymond Green's time at the Warriors over and Jimmy Buckets calls game.
And why it's time for Basketball Australia to finally open the door to the NBL.
And we've got John Casey. We're going to preview all the games over the festive season and one thing the NBL need to do in 2024.
This is The Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel. What they gonna say next?
It sure is The Basketball Show, our last one of the year. In fact, all thanks to Code Sports, Boost Mobile and the Throwback Store. Joe and Hammer with you. Hammer, how you feeling?
Pretty good, Jojo. So much basketball happening around the world. Big time in the NBA, Christmas Day games. It's all happening.
Plenty going on. The festive season is well and truly upon us. Let's get into it. Well, Dante Exum, we touched on him last week, but he is continuing to take his opportunity in that starting lineup for the Mavs with both hands. Another 18 points the other day, 8 of 11 from the field. How amazing is it to see him out there smashing it for the Mavs?
I think he had an even bigger one before that, didn't he? Didn't he have 20-odd points or so? And
yeah, his last, 5 or 6 games as a starter have been great.
Shooting the ball at a high clip from the three-point line over the last week as well. And, going back to Europe did amazing things for him. We spoke about it leading into the Olympics. I thought he was one of our best players, at the World Cup. And he's going to be on fire for the Olympics. So good to see, and dealing with so many injuries, just coming into his own right now.
No, it's awesome. The Mavs were up against the Blazers very quickly. Duop had 11 points in 15 minutes, so great to see him out here. Matisse, 5 points, couple of steals and a block in 19 minutes. So when he's not scoring, he's managing to find an impact himself. All right, we've been following this story and seeing it unfold for the last few days, but Giannis and the Pacers and this kerfuffle about whether he actually has the game ball or not after dropping a career-high 64 points, breaking the Bucks record for most points in a game. It felt pretty petty to me. I mean, I found this really interesting. 2 absolute superstars of the game having some words for each other. What did you make of it?
Well, come on, Joe, put your point forward. In the production meeting, you told me that, the Pacers gave it to the first game player.
Yeah, they did.
And you thought that was all right.
Well, I understand the argument. I mean, this player is never going to score his first points again. Giannis has an opportunity to score another 64. You can definitely see it from both sides. I think generally it's just pretty petty.
Oh, it's definitely petty, but I cannot see it from both sides.
Really?
How do the Pacers go into Milwaukee, take their game ball, and say it's for a player's first points? You don't give the ball to every player's first points when you're playing on the road and just take their ball. But then on the other hand, I mean, that's bad. You just don't, that's disrespectful. Mm-hmm. But from Giannis's side,
it didn't look good, did it?
Is he getting a little bit Americanized? No, he is. He came from humble beginnings, and you don't see Jokic doing that. He's not doing that. He's not carrying on like that over a game ball. He's like, stats, it doesn't matter. Triple doubles. I don't care about any of that. And you see Giannis, and you go back. He sort of demanded trades. He's got his brother a contract. He's got kids on. I just feel like he's. Remember when he pushed the ladder down because they said he couldn't shoot? I just feel like, maybe he's buying into a little bit of the rubbish.
Interesting.
Into the States.
Is that opening a whole other can of worms?
What do you mean?
Potentially.
Why?
Well, just discussing the Americanization and the bravado and how
That's
the
superstars.
What it is.
That's how they act. You don't think that they
you're
do?
Stereotyping.
The superstars in the States carry on with a whole lot of that sort of stuff. That's we know that.
Yeah.
That's not a big statement.
No, I guess not. I don't know. If I'm dropping 64 points, maybe I'm running up the race as well to the locker room.
I mean, you want the ball, there's no doubt, but surely that's not a big thing in his life.
Your balls?
Yeah.
You do?
Yep.
Do you remember from which games?
Grand final.
Okay.
First ever Kings Championship.
You've got it? I love that.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice thing, Dave.
We must talk about Director Dave's Knicks. Jalen Brunson dropping 50 points, career high, 9 of 9 from deep. That's so impressive.
I think he's been fantastic. It ended up being a blessing for him not staying in Dallas, I think. You know, you'd think they lowballed him and, you know, that backcourt would have been unbelievable. Then he backs himself, goes sign a big contract, and yeah, he's been incredible. And he just goes about his business, doesn't he? Game in, game out, and seems like he's unselfish at times where he's not getting shots and shares the ball, but then still has that ability to be able to come through as their main guy.
Yeah, massive performance against the Suns there. They did then go and lose to your favourite team, the Clippers, but we won't talk about that for the moment. Draymond Green suspended indefinitely after lashing out at Yusuf Nurkic for Phoenix. Does it feel like he doesn't seem happy? And it feels like the Warriors dynasty is coming to an end. They've had a couple of better performances since he's been suspended. But I don't know, what do you make of the situation? Do you see him there next season onwards?
It's over. Time's done. You know, he just keeps playing up. All these little things, he doesn't need to do it. He's run his race and they've had huge success, but he needs a fresh start. And I think the Warriors need somebody fresh as well. Somebody who come in and prepared to be able to still do the dirty things and play a valuable role, maybe do a little bit more as well. But that's done. And I mean, even Clay looks stale, doesn't he? He's not playing his best basketball. You just got to question that organisation right now where they've just gone a little bit too far trying to pull everybody together and replicate the success they've had. You just think it's done.
They've had a good run.
They've had a great run.
A little closer to home, southeast Melbourne absolutely thumped by the Illawarra Hawks. We had Justin Tatum on last week. We asked him the question, does he think that they can still win a championship? He said yes. You know, obvious reasons, got to have that belief and confidence as a head coach. I mean, that was a good performance, but from the other point of view, Phoenix, yeah. I think Phoenix fool's gold? Is what's been written down? Yeah,
well, that's what I said. I said it on Twitter watching the game. I mean, it is fool's gold. But, I mean, let's go to the Hawks first because you want to be able to compliment them. They have done a great job, and Tatum has done a terrific job of turning that same team around in a short period of time and have success. I think they've won 3 out of 4. Losing by 28 at home, though, sure, Mitch Creek. You know, people are going to make excuses. Mitch Creek, imports just come in, blah, 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 blah. They gave up 100 points to the bottom team. It's fool's gold. They keep talking about defence. We had Tommy Greer on and, yeah, we're working on defence, we're working. Giving up that many points to the bottom team is unacceptable. If they really think that they can win a championship this year, they're kidding themselves with some of their performances. They've got the pieces to be able to do it. And sometimes you fall into them and go, yeah, I really like their balance and what they do. They look pretty. They're a shiny toy at different stages. But I tell you, that performance, just like the performance when they lost to United, who didn't have 3 of their stars out, and because that's the other side. The good teams can lose a player and still put in a good performance and win. They don't lose by 28 because they're losing one of their marquee guys. I mean, it's just poor.
So you mentioned they've got the pieces, especially from a defensive point of view. Are we putting it then down to their effort?
Well, they've got the pieces offensively. But obviously they have to be able to play defence. And they haven't proven that they can do it. Or they haven't proven they've got the strategies to be able to do it. Defence is all about desire. If you want to defend your man, you want to be able to work hard, you want to get off, whether it's pick and roll or whether it's any sort of rotations, you do it. You block out, you do it. They don't do it. They don't have the energy and the mindset to do it consistently. They've shown they can do it for parts, so that has to come down to a mindset.
More tough games for them coming up as well. We've got the Jack Jumpers on Christmas Day, of course. John Casey in a little while to preview that one.
He will.
All right, let's keep moving.
5.
Hoops Highlights brought to you by Boost Mobile. Luke Travers goes bang.
Oh, right on his hand. And then down the other end, Travers says, take that on. 4.
Jokubaitis looking for Nachi! And a thunderous finish.
Barcelona in the Euro League. Naji just tucks that in.
3.
Jaylen Brown with a little bit of power.
2.
Christian Brown bounces in. Here he goes. The Jayhawk hits the...
Oh my, Christian Braun for the Nuggets.
Better than that.
Fast break dunk.
1. 2 seconds left. Butler step back for the win. Yes! Jimmy Butler delivers the victory. 118-116.
Jimmy Buckets doing what he does best, calling game. And that's your Hoops highlights, thanks to Boost Mobile.
Step back and the elevation. Great lift on this shot. Nothing but net.
All right, Matty Logue at the desk as he is every week. Matty, Larry Kesselman has been spotted at the WNBL. Is there potentially an NBL WNBL partnership on the horizon?
I think Joe and Shane, a lot of people would love to see it, and I know Larry is keen to help out with whatever he can. There were NBL games yesterday, and he was there at a WNBL game. It doesn't have to be, but he's putting in the effort. But my understanding is Basketball Australia guys are at this point really standing their ground, and they don't want to relinquish the WNBL. They want to keep it, and this is political. I guess it dates back a lot of years. But at the end of the day, I don't know what you guys think, but the WNBL deserves better than what it's currently getting from a marketing, commercial, and I think that's what Larry's proven he can do. And if he can find other people who are willing to invest as well and put it up in lights a bit better, like respectfully, I didn't really know that the WNBL, in terms of trying to watch it, it's hard to find. It doesn't get much publicity, and it deserves to. Like, this competition's incredible. I'd like to see it change. And I know a lot of respected people, and I know Michelle Timms won't care me saying this, but she's been saying it for a long time. She wants Larry in there, and a lot of people of Michelle's ilk would like to see something happen.
But it's a secret. I mean, we know that. Basketball Australia hasn't proven that they can run anything successfully at that sort of level, from the NBL to the WNBL. How many games have you watched this year, Joe? On
WNBL?
TV? Yeah.
3.
And you haven't watched any?
Oh, well, I'm obviously, got a lot with NBL and NBA and that, but I'm just saying, coming from the perspective of the wider community as well, we're seeing women's sport has surged, and you're seeing the NRLW, the AFLW, you're seeing women's cricket, women's sport in general, but the WNBL, the original pioneers,
feels like it's being
I'd go as...
Yeah, it's just not right. It's not right, and something has to happen. If Larry's willing to come in, I think, for want of a better word, I think there needs to be some pride swallowed, and they've just got to work together. It's a sport.
I'd go as far to say that what Larry's done with the NBL 1, the minor leagues in the off-season, is so much higher in profile than what Basketball Australia have done with our pinnacle. Our women deserve more.
Of course, definitely. And I will say that the Basketball Australia with the juniors and what they've been able to do with the AIS dating back decades, like, we nail that. We absolutely nail that. But I feel like Basketball Australia at the moment is so far stretched that in the modern world of commercialism and all that, it takes more effort. It takes, they can't just do it by themselves. Yeah,
it needs to be collaborative. Everybody, I think, is on the same page. They want to see it grow. They know it deserves better. Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. We know that Goorj has been doing the rounds in the US, catching up with all of the Aussies over there. What is the latest? Who's he been speaking to recently?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Dante Exum before. Goorj was courtside to see Dante go off, and I think he's pumped about that because, Dante will play a crucial role moving forward. Duop Reese killing it, which is really heartening to see. But there will be, I'm told, some hard conversations, and the hardest conversations will be with Paddy Mills. He's not playing many minutes. At the World Cup, we saw he went into that campaign, not many minutes, and there is potential, I'm told, that Paddy could start off the bench in Paris because you've got Dyson Daniels, who will be Goorj's last trip before he flies home for Christmas. Dyson's killing it. Dyson deserves his chance. I think what he did at the World Cup, and he sat there, I think he's ready, and he's a Goorjian player. Both ends of the floor, but his defence is amazing. So I just think at this point we're seeing a crossroads, Shane, similar to Sydney 2000, where a lot of guys retired and they didn't prepare for the future. I think this is a case where the hard conversations are coming because the Boomers have to prepare for the future. Because reality is Paddy's not going past Paris, and neither is Joe, and we love them dearly. But I think that's why Gorge has had to have the tough conversation.
I think Paddy would be great off the bench.
Yeah, I've
really
got no
do.
problem with it, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit, and you're right. Dyson Daniels, where they struggled, the Boomers last year, was defensively, and I think Dyson really fills that hole. So I think it's a good conversation.
Dyson, Matisse, Josh, when he's fit as well.
I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
All right, John Casey joins us now for Points Made from Adelaide. Case, great to have you on the show as always. It's obviously coming up to Christmas. I want to know from both of you, if you could have one present in your Christmas stocking, what would it be? And what would the NBL need to implement in 2024? If you could have one gift, Case, what would it be?
Well, Joe, great to be with you and Hammer again. Look, I think I've already got a gift under the tree, and that's what the NBL has done this year. We've got Adelaide on the bottom, but Melbourne on top, and then you've got 7 teams in there vying for 5 spots. So the top 4 has changed every week so far. We've had 11 rounds. But having said all that, I won't be surprised if the top 4 at the moment is the top 4 come the semi-finals, because I think those teams, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth and Tassie, are looking strong at the moment. But we've had a great season so far. But one thing I really think the NBL should investigate is the rapid basketball, which is being rolled out in New Zealand. So what they do is add an NBL game before the game, an hour before the game, when the players are warming up. You get your bench players out there from both teams, and they play 4-minute quarters, and they go at it. You don't have to play any starters, and that way it's more like a pickup game and a warm-up in the same process. But some of these bench players do not get on. DMP's down the end, and they come back post-game and do another workout. Why not get them playing 4-on-4? And I understand, you don't want an injury, but you're talking bench players here. And even if you reduce it to your last 3 players on the end of your roster and have that 3 versus that 3, you get the young kids out there, you get the highlight reel, there'll be dunks, there'll be fast breaks, there'll be really good excitement, almost like a curtain raiser like we used to have at the football.
I like it, Case. Good stuff, mate. Well, I'm going a little bit harder hitting than that. All right, I'm going for the full-blooded. I want the full-blooded trades, Case. Now, I always have the asterisks when I lobby for this, and I've been doing it for a few years. The player has to agree. It's not big enough like the NBA where you just get told you're going to have to take off somewhere else if you've got a family and everything else. But if a player agrees, imagine Jason Kadee now. You reckon he would agree to a trade right now? Or Sunday Dech? You imagine the speculation and the stories that would be done coming across the NBL nationally about the potential trades coming up to Christmas. And New Year would be the perfect time to be able to do it. Almost halfway through the season, make teams better and stronger coming into the money time of the season. Let's make it happen, Case.
Yep, don't mind that at all, Hammer.
Love that, definitely. In my Christmas stocking, I would like an all-star game, locals versus imports. So let's see if the NBL are
yes,
listening.
please.
We like that.
All right, we are previewing Christmas Day. Case, first up, it's Tassie taking on Southeast Melbourne. How do you see that one going?
Wow. Well, last time they met, 1-point game. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix winning 86-85. Tasmania play in Illawarra on the 23rd. Have to travel on the 24th and play Christmas Day. But it is a handful for them. But I can't tip against the Jack Jumpers, and certainly not the Phoenix to upset them.
Yeah, I'm with you, Case. I think it'll be a close game, but gee, they let you down at different stages, Southeast Melbourne. Just when you think that they're coming good and they talk about defence, but they don't get it done. And Tassie have stubbed their toe a little bit over this last weekend. I think they'll be hungry. They've got the depth. I want to see more minutes for Will Magnay. Think that they've been a little bit conservative with him. And when he comes good, gee, he can change the game. And I really like where Jack Jumpers are at.
The second game, Christmas Day, guys. Sydney taking on an in-form Illawarra Hawks. Who would have thought? Case, who have you got?
This is a fantastic game, isn't it? And you know what? Sydney have won their last 8 in a row against Illawarra, so the Hawkies are overdue. They're a chance. And we've got, Illawarra in New Zealand the Friday the 22nd and then travel. The Kings will win this game, but they won't win by the 20 or the 15 that they've won the 2 previous games this season. I'm giving the Hawks a real big shot, and I expect them to be in it in the last quarter. Sydney, just with their depth of talent, maybe to get home.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I tell you, you tip your hat, don't you, to to Tatum and his team and the way they've been revitalised, their energy that they're playing with, the belief. And if there's one game that you mark on the calendar for the Hawkies every year, it's against Big Brother up the highway, and they'll certainly be coming out to be able to win it. But I don't think they will. I think Sydney, they've got the depth, as you talk about. They've got the athleticism and the style to be able to put plenty of points on the board. They'll be up for it as well. And I think the Kings will just be a little bit too strong.
No, can't wait for that one. Boxing Day, guys. Perth are on their way to Far North Queensland to take on the Taipans. How do you see that one playing out?
Well, Perth won by 8 in round 8 on their home deck. The Taipans weren't at their best then. But, Perth have won 11 of their last 13 against Cairns. They're just a more reliable and a safer bet. I think if you're having a punt on this game, it's pretty hard to tip against Perth because you know what you're going to get with them. With Cairns, the good Cairns will win this game easily because they've beaten Melbourne easily this year. They've beaten Sydney easily this year. But the bad Cairns that we've seen at times as well can't get out of their own way. And we saw that against New Zealand in the game, in the round just completed. So they've got to find a way to reduce that gap between their best and their worst because on their night, they can beat anyone, Cairns. But if you're looking for a safer bet, then hard to tip anything but the Wildcats in this one.
Yeah, they've been funny, Cairns. You're right, Case. They do look good. That Melbourne game was exceptional, but then we've seen them really struggle and get down big amounts of points in the first half, have to be able to make big comebacks. McCall is starting to play some good basketball, putting up some good stats, especially if you're a Supercoach owner of him. And Miller's been tremendous as well. I like the fact that Armstrong's starting to really find his own as well. But the Perth Wildcats, they've made massive changes. They're starting to play with belief and confidence. And this is the sort of game, big, high-profile game where Bryce Cotton, I reckon, is going to go off. Mark him down for 35+ in this game and a Perth win.
Hammer calls Bryce time. Love it. New Year's Eve, the Hawks are hosting the 36ers, ringing in 2023, 2024. How would I say that? Ringing in?
Yeah, that'd
ringing in 2024.
You're asking me. I didn't finish high school.
Case, who have you got, Hawks or 36ers?
Well, it's hard to tip either of them at the moment in terms of, their recent form, although the Hawks are coming good. But, look, Adelaide, you just can't tip them at the moment, even though they've won their last 4 against Illawarra. They both lost last New Year's Eve, so at least one of them's going to finish on the right end of the ledger this year to wake up and in the new year and be on a bounce. But Hawks for me, as Hammer says, what Justin Tatum has been able to do with that group, the way he's got them energised, the way they're playing, they think they can beat anyone at the moment. Adelaide's certainly on the improve, but it's a work in progress. I like what Scott Ninnis is doing to the team, but they're still a work in progress and they've still got issues, so they can't defend that well. They're going to rack up some points. But right now, Illawarra, one of the hottest teams in the competition, they could have been on a 4-game winning streak. They only won 3 games for all of last season. They've won 3 in a month at the moment. So I think the Hawks are too good.
And if this game is going to be won just on total belief, enthusiasm, engagement and energy, it's going to go to the Hawks. And you have to think that they'd be able to do that. They've got full buy-in with their coach right now. And I agree. I think Scott Ninnis did a better job in the second game than what they did in the first game. But you still can't see that same engagement of what the Hawks have after they've made a coaching change as well. There's going to be guys at the end of the bench. They're not going to be happy. They're not engaged. They don't want to be away at this time and have to sit there when they know they should be playing. And just a whole lot of discontent for me. And I think the Hawks will get a well-deserved win.
The final game of the year, guys. Case, you alluded to this before. The Cairns Taipans were down by 18 against the 36ers in the fourth quarter last New Year's Eve. They came back to win it. They've got united this year, though. Can you see the same thing happening?
Well, you know what? Anything can happen in Cairns. As we know, they are erratic and they can be spectacular. And their best is certainly some of the most exciting basketball you get to see in the Hungry Jacks NBL. But, Cairns will be their 4th game in 10 days. They're in the middle of a very compressed schedule because of their trip to the USA earlier in the season. They play half their season in about 7 weeks, finishing on New Year's Eve. And this one will be their 4th in 10 days, as I say. I hope we get to see that big shootout, 115, 113, that it was in round 9 in Melbourne. I was courtside for that game, and I could not have been more impressed with Cairns. I walked away from that game thinking they can win the whole thing. Miller was outstanding. I think he had 32 and 10 assists. Josh Roberts had his breakout game. And they've got so many talented players, and they're so hard to match up against. The best thing about Cairns is they're proactive. They make you react to what they're doing. They're not going out, how do we stop Melbourne? They're saying, we're going out to score points and see if Melbourne can keep up. Let's hope we get a shootout. I know I'm feeling for all the people in Cairns at the moment. They're going through a very tough time with the storms and everything. So let's hope that this game gets off the ground. It's a spectacular way to finish the season. But Melbourne have won 10 of their last 13 against Cairns. And again, referring back to my comments about Perth, if you're looking for the safer bet, it's certainly Melbourne, but don't rule Cairns out completely.
I'm going to rule them out, Case. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And rebound being a key word in basketball, that's exactly what Melbourne United will do. They will pack their hard hats and they will pack the videotapes, VHS, whatever they're going to be watching of that last game. Dean Vickerman will be that fired up. And if there's one team that plays with consistency and with effort and plays together, it is Melbourne United. They will not forget that game. They will come out. They'll be on fire. And I would not be surprised if this game is a double-figure win for Melbourne United. They are going to do it with a big exclamation mark. And then they'll probably get some free drinks at Gilligan's or one of those clubs that you hang out at. Case.
They can mention your name, Hammer. They'll be straight into the proper suite.
They'll be straight to the back of the line.
I love it. Big call, Hammer. I think we have viewers that won't know what a VHS is, by the way.
Probably. Whatever they're going to take up. I don't know.
Case, thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Chrissy New Year's. We'll see you on the NBL coverage and chat to you in 2024.
Absolute pleasure. Merry Christmas, everyone, and have a safe New Year as well. Should be a terrific second half of the NBL season.
All right, time for Supercoach, and we have the guru, and we're not just pumping him up, saying he's the guru without the results, because he's getting it done. Nathan Stremple, well done to another big week to you.
Hammer, I appreciate the love, mate. I've gone the Christmas shirt today. I'll try and just get in the Christmas spirit and just throw out some Supercoach advice for what we've got coming up over the next few rounds leading over and across the Christmas season.
All right, where's all the gold, mate? Come on, give us something.
But in terms of giving you something, I said Luke Travers last week. He was 4th highest scorer for the round, and your call of Will Magnay as well, definitely after that first game, looked pretty good. But this round's a bit of a one where I feel like you can improve your bench, fiddle with your team, because you've got a bunch of teams on doubles. Melbourne and Adelaide, the only two this round not playing doubles. So you've got some room to bring some guys in ahead of what's going to be a really important few weeks, because the round after that, as we look forward, Cairns and Adelaide, the only two teams on doubles. So let's talk Cairns first of all. Of course, you've got McCall and Miller playing really well. It's how many of those other guys do you hold on to? Shane, you got any Cairns players at the moment?
Yeah, I've got a plethora of Cairns players ready to sub them out. I actually made one trade yesterday, so trying to plan ahead as well.
The thing, you need them for that next round when it's only Cairns and Adelaide, but then you want to start moving them out when they go into singles. Menenga came into the rotation, played really well. He'll make money this week, so he could be one you bring in. But who knows who Adam Ford's going to play? It was Roberts playing a bunch a few weeks ago, and now he's fallen out of favour. So it's hard to know with the Cairns guys. So that brings us to Adelaide and where we're going to go with the Adelaide players. DJ, the obvious choice, but he's gone up in price a bit now. But with the coaching change, some of those guys getting extra minutes have been Trey Kell and Isaac Humphries you can get for a bargain, or you look a bit lower in terms of your Nick Marshalls, who's playing a bit more now. He might be someone who comes into favour. What do you think about the Adelaide team, Hammer?
I've stayed away from Adelaide for most of the season, to be honest with you. So I don't know whether that's good or bad, because I'm a long way from you. Top 10% though in the nation.
And building. It's all about how you finish, not about how you start. I think the Adelaide guys might come into the mix because they've got that game with just them and Cairns. But then if you look forward, there's a round towards the end of the season, which is just Adelaide and Tasmania on the double of two. So you probably want to pick an Adelaide player or two that you roll with. Personally, I think Isaac Humphries is just coming into form, playing some extra minutes under Scott Ninnis. He might be one to look at. And then we look forward to the next week and a cracker to see Sydney and Melbourne, the only two teams on doubles. So it's a case of choosing. Let's look at Sydney first of all. Which Sydney players are you going to roll with? Personally, I think Jalen Galloway now coming back from injury, he's one definitely to have a look at, and he'll be important going forwards. Any Sydney guys in your plans, Shane?
Yeah, Galloway has come into my lineup. I think he's only going to continue to grow as time goes on. He was outstanding on the weekend. But, mate, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I know you've got the impending birth of the little one, so I hope you have a great Christmas and New Year is a really good one for you.
Thanks, mate. And to you as well. Yeah, we're at bag packing stage, due mid-January, but any day now we could welcome another little one into the Stremple clan.
Well, big congrats, mate, and good luck with it, and thanks for all your help in 2023.
Thanks, Shane.
Well, as we said, that is the final show for 2023, thanks to Code Sports, Boost Mobile and the Throwback Store. It's been real, Hammer.
Certainly has. A big Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody, and a big thanks for your loyal support watching this season. Have a great time.
Bring on next year, I can't wait.
Lots of prezzies? You get lots of prezzies?
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Catch you later.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sports.